Let's wrap up the Pacers' final games until next season starts. Summer League is done, but we got to evaluate all the key players. Johnny Furphy down to RayJ Dennis, and Alex Golden from Setting the Pace is going to join me today to do it all on the Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I covered the team for Forbes, and today we're back. I hope you didn't go crazy on your one Locked On Pacers list day for the last 3 months, and we're talking Summer League with Alex Golden, breaking down all of the action. A lot to get to from the 5 games. I yapped about them all by myself. I needed help to talk about every player. We get into all of the 6 key guys: Furphy, Jackson, Jones, Dennis, Peter, everybody, Freeman. Deeper dives into what they did in Vegas, what it means for their potential future with the Pacers, giving quasi grades to all of them, and what it means for the offseason, because the Pacers still do have offseason things to come. So that will be the focus for the rest of the week, I guess, is tackling some of the rest of the offseason stuff, moves they could still make, all that, before we get into the deep offseason times. You've heard enough. Let's get into it. Breaking down Summer League with Alex Golden of Setting the Pace. For the last time, everybody, we get to talk about games, Pacers games, until October. Sad Summer League is over. Fun that it happened, giving us a little dose of basketball reality before the offseason really starts to set in. We can evaluate who the Pacers are. What do we do to evaluate some of that stuff in Summer League, which we'll get to today. We'll talk about the performance of every key player out in Vegas, and I can't do this alone. I yap too much by myself. He also yaps a lot, and he's here to help me do it today. From Setting the Pace, it's Alex Golden. Alex, hello, how are you? How's your offseason? I have so many things. I haven't seen you in like a month, which is very unusual.
I know it's been a while since we've seen each other in person, but I will say it feels like the offseason hasn't even really like started almost, because you go straight from the finals to the draft to free agency, and then of course Summer League. It's like, where has the time gone? But yeah, it's crazy to think that we finally are getting a break now until training camp.
Like, to put this in perspective, like last year, the Pacers had a long run. They made the conference finals. A month after that was still like June 30th, right? Like, if you lose in the first round, a month is like May, like the middle of May or late May. It's like, it's crazy how long their season was. And it was just thing. And now everybody is over it and there's no games for a while. But I want to, one more time again, talk about the actual play and performance of players in Summer League. And I don't know where you've landed perfectly on this, Alex, but I thought the most important player in Las Vegas Summer League for the Indiana Pacers was Johnny Furphy, even before his performances led to conversations of like, hey, should this guy maybe be in the rotation? Which we might get to that. But just coming in, you want the second-year guys to be good, show something new, show something of note. I talked about before Summer League that I thought his most important thing would be three-point shooting. That didn't go very well. He only made 25% of his threes. Basically, every other thing Johnny Furphy needed to show or do went awesome in Vegas. What did you think of what he did and what it could augur about the potential upcoming kind of goofy season for the Pacers?
Yeah, I will say, like, I was really excited when the first game started against the Cavs, and he had those first 2 quick plays where he like drove to the basket, like made a decisive move and got a basket, and then he had a kick out to RayJ Dennis for 3 in the corner, and I was like, okay, if we can see more of this, like quick, decisive, get to the basket, straight downhill, that's going to be great from him. The 3-point shooting, like you said, you want to see it be better, but it wasn't great. But I still like the shot. I still think he's going to be a good shooter. I just like the way he moves without the basketball. Good rebounder for his size, a better defender than I think a lot of people expected him to be coming out of college as well. So I've been impressed. The only thing I was a little bit sad by was the 2 games he didn't play or the 3 that he didn't play were the ones that they won. And the 2 that he actually played significant minutes, they did lose. So it's like, man, come on.
The curse of the Furf, yeah.
But no, overall, I thought just the way that he moved without the basketball, his defense was better. He looked like he was a player that could be in the rotation. And we can't forget the dunk. I mean, my God, that dunk was incredible against Essengate. I mean, is that how you say his last name?
That was Essengate? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was butchering that on our podcast. So I wasn't even trying to attempt it. But that poster might be one of the craziest posters I've ever seen. Like, of watching basketball, and the fact that it happened in summer league, like I'll remember that one for the rest of my life.
I liked Senge in the draft, and I'm like, dang, like I can only admit that for like a few more weeks, and then I can never talk about him again. Like his dog tags are still on the floor in Vegas. My God, like that was ridiculous. He had a lot of like, oh my God, dunks like in traffic, but that was obviously the best one by a mile. The thing about his drives, to the point of your quick decision making that matter, is none of them are like catch, size up, beat a guy drives, which those are still useful skills to have in the NBA. You'd like to be able to have a dribble package to get by guys, but that means some of the read that he's doing of like where he can beat his guy or what move or dribble direction it will take to get there is happening before he even catches the pass, right? And that's really important for like the read the game kind of stuff that you're talking about. That is very important on what the Pacers played like last year, and a year from now they will probably play like next year. This year we'll see how much zip they still have and how much pace can they play with without Tyrese Haliburton, and how much different they look. But regardless, being a quick decision maker is never bad. Even if you have to slow down, you can do it. You just process the game a little differently. That was by far, I think, the biggest like, oh wow, stride thing that he showed was, I mean, in general, he finished well on twos as well. The finishing was good. He drew some free throws. But getting to the basket basically at will, like whoever was on him, he was not deterred on like could only get to the free throw line or couldn't get by anybody. Like he got there, right? And you mentioned an assist. Like sometimes it was passing too. It wasn't just like he's getting there. He sees a crowd who's shooting anyway. It's hard for me. I would have liked to see him make the threes, but he like stood up a few guys on defense. Buzella certainly, right? Like it was hard for me to say that anything outside of the threes went poorly for Furphy. And it was good enough, like B+, A- range, something that I'm like, okay, I don't think he should be in their top 10 this year, but he should be like close enough that he's one injury away from playing in the kind of season that they're about to have, I think. And his summer league did nothing to shake that belief, I think, for me or anybody.
No, I would agree with that. And when I talked with Dustin Dopirik on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he basically said Furphy's going to be in that Jarris role this upcoming season, kind of that 11th guy. And I think he could make a little bit of a push against Shepherd if he just does what Shepherd does, but better. I thought it was interesting that Chad Buchanan was on JMV's radio show and mentioned that he sees a lot of like Shepherd's role with Furphy. And I thought that was interesting that he brought that up like specifically. So I'm like, okay, something to keep an eye on there just because they do kind of play the same position. And with Furphy, I just think there's more potential. I think with Shepherd, not that he's necessarily, peaked or anything like that, but I feel like his jump from year 1 to year 2 was not that significantly better. I think it was fine, but I just think Rick's going to trust Shepherd over him right now just because of the playoff fund. He doesn't mess up. We all know that. But if there is an opportunity, I can see him, earning minutes. Even last year during the regular season when Furphy got minutes, like I always walked away like it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
Oh, fine. So, yeah,
they were like good. Like he's good on defense, rebounds, and basketball. Rick had a lot of good things to say about him. Like Rick said, he's going to be a rotation player eventually. So I think he's going to get a chance. I just wonder how much. But I mean, for being the youngest, one of the younger guys on the summer league team too, like to be the vet, but also one of the younger guys, it does kind of give you a little bit of excitement knowing that he was 14th on their big board, according to Rick last year when they drafted him.
Naturally, he should have more pop than Shepherd from year 1 to 2. They're like 3 or 4 years apart in how old they were at that time. Man, people always joke like, oh, I have property on Player Island. Like, I guess I'm just the Shepherd guy. I have a castle on whatever Shepherd Island is called. People keep moving away, and my kingdom of nothing is still there. But anyway, I think Taelon Peter had the Shepherd Summer League to me. For we'll see where Furphy becomes. I was obviously very bullish on that. And like the game that will forever live for me from last year is they played the Nets, and the Pacers were playing awful at this time of the season. And Furphy played so well in that game that they started him in the second half, and nobody was like, what are they doing? Everybody's like, yep, they gotta. He was one of their best 5 guys in that half. So like he actually has NBA stuff, and the Rick Carlisle quote you're referring to always sticks with me too, because he didn't say, we think Furphy can be a rotation player. He said, we think Johnny Furphy can be a rotation player for the Pacers at some point. I was like, okay, they really want him to be good here, right? They believe in him, and this summer league showed why. So the 3 is the swing skill for him. He won't have the ball like that in the regular season, but overall, I don't know where you'd put a grade, but B+, A- level summer league for Johnny Furphy. To me, I think it can be up for debate who most important player number 2 would be for the Pacers in this summer league setting, but I will just go next to the guy who has a standard contract among the crew, and that's Kam Jones, the 38th pick. Everybody, quick break to talk about Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can, whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. It's not just a budgeting app. Monarch Money is a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you are also building wealth. You can see so many surprising things, like how much you're spending on certain categories, takeout, subscriptions, whatever. If it adds up to more than you expect, great. Monarch can help you figure that out. Everything in one place. It's so convenient for managing your money day to day. If you share your finances with somebody else, Monarch has great features for that as well. Chase your financial goals, keep all your accounts in one place, and make sure your spending is tracked and not surprising. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKDOWNNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKDOWNNBA for half off of your first year. I think the caveat of that he clearly, the hamstring thing, like his rotation was never the same as other guards in terms of the consecutive amount of time that he played. He also was like toggling between roles more than probably any other ball handler on the team. He mentioned getting his win back after the fourth game. So he has like some sort of underlying stuff to keep in mind talking about him, but I'll let you go first. What did you think of the rookie, Kam Jones? How did he play in Vegas to you?
Yeah, I felt like each game he got better, and it was like a progression type of thing for him. So I was excited to see what more and more we can get from him. And by his last game, when he had 21 points, 11 assists, I thought by far his best game. Like to see him in that ball handling role just a little bit more, because we really don't know if he's going to end up being their third string point guard or third string shooting guard. Like he's got that combination guard type in him. So like that, defensively early on, I felt like he kind of got stuck in the mud a few different times there. I was like, where is he at on that, that defensive transition? But I think overall, like, I just like the way that he plays the game. I like his shot. It's pretty smooth. I think Tom Crean said he is the best layup maker in the draft. And so I thought that was interesting because he does have a very good knack of getting to the rim, like that aspect of his game as well. But yeah, I kind of compared his game on the podcast to like a combination, like shades of like CJ Miles plus Rodney Stuckey, that kind of a throwback there, just because, not necessarily like exactly those players, but like just shades of them a little bit, because I like the way he kind of drives like Stuckey a little bit, plays physical, but his shot left-hander, or maybe that's why I'm thinking of CJ Miles so much, but it just looks smooth when he shoots it. So I'm a big fan of him. I thought it was interesting that he brought up on the Jeff Teague podcast that he knew the Pacers were going to draft him at 38 when they made that trade up. So just kind of cool to know like this was a place he wants to be at. He wants to play this style, and I think he's going to fit okay. I just kind of wonder what position do they want to play him at, one or two.
Me too. I think it's good that he can do both. I think it's notable. Like I felt this way for him a little bit in general, but like the first game, I did not feel like he was that good. But RayJ played and Q played, and they had other guards who filtered into the rotation at various times in that game. But then Q was out, and then he was like, okay, a little more involved here and there. And then RayJ misses a game, and he's the only point guard. And my kind of like broader takeaway is like when he is clearly, obviously going into the game knowing that he's going to be the point guard, or like it's so every possession he gets a touch, he was more effective. Like he can feel out where his spots will be in those kind of games. And like he got really good two-way synergy with Enrique Freeman very quickly in that game where he was literally the only point guard the Pacers had. That's where I think his biggest growth point's going to be in the NBA is, when they're getting like, you go from being the dude, like he had the ball all the time with Marquette. It's crazy watching how often they ran things through him to like, all right, like, yeah, you're the point guard, I guess, but like you're going to get off of it and you're the fourth option once you give it up. Like, that's going to be his biggest adjustment to me early in the NBA, especially if he's a combo guard and he plays the two next to another point guard. It's like, man, he's got to figure out, because he did off-ball stuff at Marquette, like gorgeous baseline out of bounds plays, Shaka Smart runs, and he'd be off the ball running around getting over. But he kind of floated a little more in summer league to me when he wasn't certain of where his touch would come from or how that would kind of lead to an attack for him. So when he had the ball, like good results, right? Finished well, like you mentioned that Crean said, got up threes, made them okay. A third of them went in. The passing in the game where he was the only point guard was like great. That's good to see. He can read those moments, and he is very smooth with his start-stop ability. So I still believe in the vision of why they picked him and like what that's going to lead to. I think that'll be the next challenge for him, is like the mental approach of when he has the ball, when he doesn't, how that means his spots are coming. And of course, like his defense was, I would say I would give his summer league, if I had to give it a grade, a B or B minus.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's right. I would give him a B. Just I think he got better each time, which is a good sign.
Definitely got better.
Dealing with the injury as well before, talking about how he had to sit out a little bit during practice and things like that before he played. So obviously some restrictions there and trying to figure out his role. It's a lot. Like, and I think that's one thing people don't realize is when you come into summer league, like all these different players you're playing with, you really don't have any chemistry with them. You're just kind of figuring it out on the fly. The camp's very quick for the summer league camp, and then you fly out to Vegas. You're playing all these games, so it takes time to adjust to the style of play you're playing and who you're playing with. And so I do give them a bit of a pass, but I am really curious just to kind of see what position they want to play him at, number one, and number two, how much does he actually play with the G League this year? Because are they going to dress him a lot to kind of be that third guard, or are they going to dress Quenton more and maybe not play Quenton as much in summer league, or not summer league, the G League team? So I think for the Boom, it's going to be interesting to see who's kind of running the team down there, because I could see both. I mean, and if they have RayJ on, is RayJ still on a 2-way contract?
Yes.
So he's definitely going to be there. I wonder which way they're going to lean in terms of like how much opportunity they want to give him to get minutes.
Will that perhaps be the biggest tell of how the Pacers view this season? Is the third point guard Quenton Jackson, or is it Kam Jones? And that's if they make no other changes to their roster. But we'll get to Q in 2 seconds, which will be a very funny summer league discussion. But I don't think it's any doubt. Like, they should invest in Kam Jones. They gave him a long contract. They drafted him. Quinton Jackson's better than him right now. Like, period. So how they handle those two, because Q can kind of be a combo guard, I would say. He's not. He's definitely more scorer than passer. So how they balance those two players will be extremely telling to me. But yeah, I think everybody. We'll get to this with grades. Like, I don't think anybody who matters for the Pacers had a bad summer league. Okay, that's guy number 3, who I think has a case for a standard deal, is currently on a 2-way. Quenton Jackson. What a comedically good only game he played. Where just like first half was like, that wasn't a lot of Quenton Jackson. And the third quarter was like, oh my God, this is the best player I've ever seen in a summer league quarter, and then closed it out for him. One game, 24 points on 8 for 10 shooting is hilarious. 7 free throw attempts, 3 assists, 2 steals, kept the turnovers down after a horrible start to summer league last year. Just an absolutely knockout, awesome only performance. The only thing that made this not a perfect A+ for me is he only played 1 game. I can't knock a guy down for injuries too much, but I would have liked a bigger sample. He gets an A for me. Totally proved that he belongs in the mix for this team still. On that 2A he signed before it started was so good that my stance of like, I would still think about converting him to a standard and doing something different with the centers or figuring out Enrique, I think is totally justified. We'll see what the Pacers decide to do. It'll be telling about what they view with their center health and what they think of RayJ and what they think of Kam and everybody. But he was just awesome. The only problem is that we're evaluating 1 game, which, as we saw from last year, 1 game can be very unrepresentative. He was terrible in his first game and then great in all the rest. But holy cow, was he good in that game. And for a 4th-year player, he should be awesome. And he was. Great job, Quenton Jackson. You were awesome. A for awesome.
Yeah, you bring up last year after that first game. I'm thinking, is he even going to make the roster? Or is it Tristan Newton's time to be the new point guard? Like, that's what I was leaning towards last year. I was like, this is going to be an interesting debate. And then, like you said, he did play better, but I think that first game was so bad, it just kind of stuck in my brain for a while. But then you see what he did last year next to Tyrese when they needed him badly with Nembhard and Nesmith out. And he was really, really impactful. So I really like the way that he plays. And you mentioned that game was awesome. I won't lie. Each game got worse that he didn't play in Summer League because he just brings so much excitement. And I mean, he was coming off the bench too. Like, that's what's really interesting to me as well. Like, he didn't even start in the game that he played. So that's telling too. Like, they were just trying to figure out what to do with Kam and things like that. But I don't know if did Kam start? I think he did, didn't he?
Kam did start, yeah.
Yeah. So for Quenton, I mean, this is a guy that I could definitely see earning a standard contract after training camp. I'll be interested to see what they think about the center rotation, like you mentioned, having Bradley on there with a non-guaranteed contract that doesn't become guaranteed till January. It'll be kind of surprising if he's still on the roster and they do want to carry 4 centers, as well as playing Obi Toppin at the 5 sometimes. I just feel like they might want to go a little bit more point guard here and help shore up that, third string point guard with Tyrese out. So Quenton makes a lot of sense to me, but that game was awesome. I mean, he literally got the Pacers in that game with his incredible third quarter performance and then some of the stuff he did there in the fourth. But he's just a guy like that you really want. I mean, even last year in the G League playoffs, like, I thought that it was pretty much him and nobody else really stepped up. And the last game they played, I thought he was really, really special in that one. But overall, he's probably the best player on the Summer League team this year by far.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of wondered too if like they just didn't really want to play him because they thought he was too good.
I wonder what the general manager of the Pacers thinks of the Pacers having 4 centers and what they're going to do with Quenton Jackson. I know of a podcast called Setting the Pace that Alex hosts where you will be able to get more clarity from one Chad Buchanan very soon. Believe tomorrow, Tuesday. I don't know when it's coming out, but I know they're recording tonight. So
yeah, it'll be out Monday.
Okay. Yes. There you go. So when you're done listening to this summer league stuff that is only interesting to me, go listen to Chad Buchanan talk. Yeah, Q was awesome. Good enough that my case would be that he should be on a standard. It's tricky because like Freeman's hanging out there. He's restricted, but why would he want an exhibit 10 to come to camp and like compete for maybe a 2A, or how would they want to do that when he was so productive in summer league that I'd imagine another team would be like, yeah, we'll take you. Like we'll try it on a 2A. So I'm assuming the dust will settle on that before the end of the month. Like that's about when they signed Tristan and Quenton last year was like July 28th or something like that. I'm just going off a precedent for the Pacers, but that's like the only undetermined thing is how they're going to handle Freeman. And it's kind of awkward if it's like he knows he's competing for a spot, but like one guy can get it to win, one guy can't. Like, how's this going to work? So I'll be curious how they decide to do that, what it looks like. But then, like, if you convert Q and sign Enrique to a 2A, like Tony Bradley can see the writing on the wall of what that means. So
yeah,
you can bring him in and compete and see how it goes. But that's kind of what I think they would do is convert. What I would do is convert Q, sign Enrique, leave it up to a camp battle. Enrique on a 2A, to be clear. Because Q was that good to me. Like, he was good enough last year to, like, everybody. Remember at the end of the year, like, kid that came against the Cavs, he's playing, everybody's like, oh, man, like, it sucks that he can't play in the playoffs. And I was like, okay, that's a little extreme, but, like, at least I understand why you're saying this. So him having a good summer league, very telling and revealing and important. The next level of importance I would leave up to interpretation from anybody, but I would say that the most intrigue from fans comes from the draft pick, Taelon Peter, who I personally had no idea what to expect from him, right? We don't know. He played at Liberty. How is that going to translate quickly to summer league? Like, clearly they like him because they picked him and these efficiency numbers are insane, but like, can you do anything else valuable? What's this going to look like? He, amazingly enough, wasn't that efficient and was still really good at lots of other stuff, which made his summer league very fun to me.
I think the thing I took away the most from when I saw him play was the defense. I thought his defense was great. Agreed. Like, I was like, okay, what's going on here? Then, like, getting steals, going out and slamming it in a transition, like when the game's close, like, I was like, okay, I like this. I felt like he was the guy that people kind of talked about more than Kam Jones after that first game. And I always feel like it's first impressions with Summer League because everyone's real excited at first. Then you get to Game 5 of Summer League. It's like, who's really still tweeting about Summer League?
Me.
But, yeah, Tony and Dustin are. I mean, giving us great details over there on their Twitter feeds. But I love it. And I think that the thing with me for him that I just kind of noticed throughout the entirety of his play this Summer League was instincts. And that he just has great instincts, knows when to cut at the right time. The coach, what was the coach's name again from Liberty that you interviewed?
Richie McKay from Liberty.
Yes. I love the interview that he had. I thought he was spot on talking about how he's not going to try to overstep. And that was just, to a T, because I heard you talk about it. He needed to shoot the ball more. There was more opportunity for him to shoot more. And it's like, yeah, let it fly, man. But he just wants to be such a team player. And I feel like he's going to fit in so well, whether it's with the Boom or whether it's with the Pacers. I just feel like he's got something that kind of fits what they like. And overall, like, I thought his shot looked good. I mean, it didn't always go in, but I liked the shots that he took. He wasn't taking bad shots. So that to me is, good processing. But overall, I would say very, very impressed overall, especially since he was like a very late pick in the second round that nobody expected.
Yeah, like Kam Jones took more threes per game. Like, Taelon Peter, man, shoot. You're open. Take it. Look, if you're like Rick Carlisle with the Pacers, you're happy that he like made the right read. Like, he never didn't shoot it and then turned it over. Like that would have really drove everybody crazy. Like when he didn't shoot it, he was getting it to somebody else or like putting it on the floor, like something else that's like not a negative play. It's just different. But it's like, man, like get it up. It's going to be the Shepherd. I think it's going to be. So one, he's like coming in with a higher profile, although Ben Shepherd was a great shooter at Belmont. And the dunks are crazy. Like his athleticism's nuts for his size, but he is, 6'3" or whatever he is. What's this going to be in the pros? Because if he's a low mistakes player like Shepherd, he's going to have to be a great shooter. And we've seen Shepherd come and go with the shot, and it's frustrated fans to no end. And so that's why it's so fascinating to me to see, like, okay, if he's going to be a low mistakes guy like he was, what else can you do? Especially if you take less than 4 threes a game and make barely over a quarter of them. Well, he finished great inside the arc. He was awesome, like you said, on defense, standing up real players with good reps, good nose for the ball in the glass, decent enough passer. Would have liked to see like a little bit fewer turnovers, but yeah, it was like, okay, my pre-summer league premise for Taelon Peter was, what else can you do? Like, am I going to walk away from something being like, dang, like the efficiency, I get it, but everything else, I have no idea. It's like the opposite where I'm like, man, the shot was goofy and didn't go in, but everything else was like, yep, great, knows how to play. I like you said instincts. I said the maturity, like it. Yeah, it's like that's great. It's going to be a Carlisle player, right? So I think he's earned a 2-way too, which is part of my pitch to promote Q would be that Taelon Peter should get a 2-way. He should be somebody at least in the mix to play in an NBA game this year. But
how much did Kevin Pritchard's thumbs up to Caitlin Cooper's tweet about Taelon Peter should be a 2-way player? Did that inspire you?
I mostly interpreted that to Kevin Pritchard saying he is playing well, thumbs up. But it was very funny that he said that to a specific.
I love that he's sitting front row, right next there to Steve Simon, Jenny Busek, and his wife, and he just replies to Caitlin on Twitter with the thumbs up. Like, what am I supposed to take from that game?
I know. I mean, I'll say this: it's not nothing, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm not going to be like, oh, I am just going to shrug this off completely. But he was. I mean, he played like
I read into it a lot.
Yeah. So B probably for me for him. B. I mean, BB plus range. If he had made more threes, he would have been in today at his current volume. If he had taken 5 threes a game and done everything else the same, he probably would have been closer to a B plus for me. But again, this is going to be a very silly grading scale where like outside of Q, nobody had like an awesome hell yeah summer league, but a lot of guys were like, all right, there you go. Who is more interesting to you to do next, Enrique Freeman or RayJ Dennis?
I would probably say Enrique. RayJ was very up and down, I would say, like had some good moments, but
Enrique, 3 good games and one just like, oh God, a putrid game.
Yeah. And it was right after the great game that he had too. So It was like, oh man, what do we think? I think he went like 1 of 10 that game or something like that. But to me with Enrique, I'm just kind of fascinated because is he too small at the 5 position?
Yes.
And is that the only position? No. You don't think he's too small?
I do think he's too small.
Yeah. And I'm saying for the 5, they already have 4 5s. So like, do the Pacers really need an undersized big man that played well? And go back the previous year, Oscar Tshiebwe was terrific with the G League, and he had a good summer league too, but they ended up cutting him because it didn't really fit their style. I think Enrique is a different player, and I think that his involvement in terms of or evolving as a 3-point shooter as well as just, great on the glass, just very active. Like I thought he was very consistent throughout the entirety of the summer league. Just kind of wonder like where they view him at with their role. Like I think there's definitely a spot for him with the G League team, but I don't know if I see him as a regular roster kind of player. And that's where I think he's like right there on the edge of like last 2-way contract and good player, but what, does he really fit what they need right now? And I don't necessarily think he does, just based on what they kind of are doing with the center by committee thing and, rostering so many guys. If it were similar to last year where they had 3 and wanted to use him as a 2-way, that makes sense. But with Bradley currently on the roster still, and then, between Dennis and Quenton Jackson and Peter, like to me, it's like, I feel like he's kind of like the odd man out of the 4 right now, unless one of those guys that we talked about with Quenton getting converted to a standard contract, Bradley goes, that could make more sense to me. But I thought his play was very, very improved from last year. I mean, you can definitely tell like he's a guy that can compete, but I think Caitlin Cooper was right. Like I wanted to see him play power forward some just to see what he could do at that position, but it seems like they don't really feel comfortable with him playing that spot. Yeah,
that is like, okay. So let me be dorky, Tony. Like I actually, after the Pelicans game, spent a lot of my weekend thinking about Enrique Freeman because it's
only Tony would do that.
I know. So like your starting question is like the crux of this whole discussion. Like, is he too? He is clearly his best position would be center. Is he too short? So like for his current skills that he has, like what he is currently able to do, the answer is yes. Like there are other players in the NBA who are 6'7" and are good centers. Draymond Green's the face of that because he's like the best it's ever gotten. But like other 6'7" guys have been good centers. So like it's not just like he's 6'7", it's over. It's that he's 6'7" and he's like a task rabbit, effort guy, good finisher type, not like Draymond's a whiz passer and defender, or like he's not a great shooter. And so Terry Taylor ran into this problem to a different extent where like Terry Taylor would have been a great center, but he was 6'4", right? He can't play center. So on one hand with Freeman, I'm like, I agree with everybody's stance that he is too short for the position that his skills dictate he should play. When he did play 4, it went fine, but like a lot of his perimeter stuff was like, yeah. But then I'm like, I'm looking at a sheet of paper in front of me right now, and I don't want to be too statsy. Like I watched every game. I thought he was not great in the first game despite good numbers. I thought he was quite good in all the rest of the games with good numbers. He averaged 16 and a half points a game on 8 shot attempts. Right? He shot 73% from the field, small sample, but 56% from 3, took 6 free throws a game, nearly 10 boards. I'm like, am I supposed to look at that productivity and just be like, I give up, he's too short? Like, no, he clearly is good at something. And because of that, I land on right now that even though I agree that he might be too small for the position he's best suited to play, if I'm the Pacers, I would like to try for another year to see if I can get him better enough at other stuff to make him a 5, or better enough at other stuff to make him a 4. And if there's even a chance that I could do that, I would like to give him a 2-way, because that production is crazy, right? And that has to matter at some point, even if there's intangibles that make him tougher to kind of put into a traditional basketball player box. He played well. Like, again, I'd probably say B+ summer league. He made threes. That's a new skill. He was pushing the ball in transition. That's a new skill. His screening was better. That's a new thing, right? Like, that's all great. He didn't look like a crazy lost gazelle like last year. Like, he looked coordinated and better. So he was better than last year. But it is, especially on a team that currently has 4 centers, challenging to see how he fits in if they keep all 4 of those centers, because he shouldn't play over any of them if they're trying to win. So the case to keep him is development. And that's why I'm like, these numbers are too good for me to ignore the chance of development. But at the same time, they didn't do that with Oscar last year, to your point. So just a really fascinating spot. I don't know what they do. I would give him a 2-way and promote Q. I've said that a million times, but I would understand if they didn't, even though it wouldn't be what I would do.
Yeah, I would echo everything you just said there, because the numbers, they just pop off when you read them. Like, that's really incredible efficiency from a guy that's undersized and playing, way above his position in terms of size. So, yeah, if they can find a way to make it work, then make it work, because I think they still kind of need to find a little bit more balance with the roster overall. But 4 centers is a lot, and 2 of them coming off Achilles injuries. I think that's why Bradley's still currently on the roster, just because I think they want to make sure they have insurance. Well,
I think Bradley's on the team because non-guaranteed contracts can be fun and helpful for trades in certain
situations. Very true too. Yeah, that's very true too. So they could find a way to move him as well. But regardless, I just think with with Enrique Freeman, I'm intrigued by him as a player. I just kind of wonder where he fits, and that's the biggest question. And I'm sure they like the way that he's performed. I mean, obviously a great kid, does everything the right way. I feel like Rick was a big fan of the way that he worked, and even gave him some minutes early on in the season against the Knicks. I think he matched like every minute that Jericho Sims played. And one of those games, I think it was the one Mathurin at 38 and Haliburton at 35, and everyone was just so excited about that game. But yeah, he can definitely play at that spot, but I think it's just, there's got to be a specific matchup that he plays in right now, and he probably could get an opportunity somewhere else on another 2-way that might make more sense for him.
Speaking of size, RayJ Dennis, 3, awesome in that he made shots games. That's the thing for him. His passing is good. His floater is interesting. 3s went in. Like, that's a big thing for him, given how much he has the ball and kind of how he probes. 6 attempts per game, 40%. That's great. 7.3 assists. That's great. Steals were high. Turnovers were also high, almost 4 a game. That's not great. Yeah. Finishing in the lane needed to be a little better. He scored well enough that I would give him a B- summer league. He is clearly a good passer, reads the game well. Multiple games and multiple times in summer league. If you just watch RayJ Dennis on a possession, you can see him shoveling his hand in a way or pointing at somebody or some other guy to say, like, he knows the play and knows what that guy should be doing, and that guy doesn't know what that guy should be doing. And I'm like, okay, like, you know what you're doing. You get enough steals to read the game well. The investment makes sense, especially on a team that needs point guard depth. Right? Him on a 2-way, I get it. That's fine. He's small, right? That's the holdup with him right now, is that he's TJ McConnell's size, and so he's got to be awesome at getting in the lane, or like the greatest defender of that size possible, which, like, there's very few defenders of that size. So he still has room to grow and needs to. He only played 8 NBA games last year, but I think everybody at least sees the box of, like, why the Clippers wanted him last year and had him for camp, why the Pacers scooped him up last year out of the G League, and why they sent him to a 2-year, because they wanted to keep evaluating him. So I think people probably have the least opinions, like not good or bad, just the least actual opinions of him, of any player who has tangible impact on the Pacers going forward. But it was fine. It was fine.
Yeah, I would say like coming into Summer League, he was not someone I was really like focused on. Like, what can he do? I'm like, he's one of the two-way guys, but I really just don't see a role for him. But I think with your point, like, yeah, you just want to keep him on that two-way because you do need some point guard depth.
Yep.
If you do have some injuries, because if TJ has to play more minutes, that's going to be problematic. Nembhard's dealt with injuries, I feel like, the entirety of his career, where he's missed at least a significant amount of time, whether it's 5-10 games, whatever it is. But just having that kind of point guard depth, someone that knows your system, and like you mentioned, he's telling guys where to go, like he knows what he's doing, and clearly they trust him enough to kind of run the offense. And without Quenton, I mean, he did the one game without Quenton, he was bad, but the rest he was fine.
Yep.
And so played the last game. Obviously, they didn't play Kam in that one, or Taelon didn't play in that one either. So I think he's a very solid basketball player, and like you mentioned, like 3-point shooting was good. I was impressed with that as well. Like he can be an off-ball shooter as well. Like he doesn't always have to have the ball in his hands too. Like I mentioned earlier, when Furphy hit him in the corner for that corner three, he's just very smart. I think he's got a high basketball IQ overall, and the turnovers have to be better. But I think overall, like that'll be fine. He'll figure it out. To me, he seems more like a guy that'll play a lot of time with Noblesville and then maybe dress every once in a while if necessary, but not a guy that I expect to play a whole lot with the Pacers, but someone that I think it's good to have in your system just because he definitely knows how to play. And if you need him to play 5-10 minutes in a game in the regular season, like he's very capable of doing that.
The token two-way guard. Pacers have one every single year. They have a two-way contract guard dating back to their only one being Davon Reed. Who remembers Davon Reed? That was a real player who played in actual games for the Pacers. Alex, I started late because the Fever scheduled a late Sunday practice. You have places to be. Do you have any other Summer League thoughts to air out? You praised Isaac Jacob. I got to get you out of here, though.
No, I did praise Isaac Jacob for being 3-2, the only winning record under Rick Carlisle's coaching. Since Carlisle's been back, him and Mike Weiner are the only two coaches to have winning records at Summer League. And then, of course, not having a first round draft pick, I think that's an extra notch in the belt. I think that's pretty impressive. And so we'll see.
And he lost his best player after one game.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely was dealing with some stuff right here, but he's just climbing the ladder for Summer League, pedigree. So I'm sure him and Gennaro will have some conversations who gets bragging rights on the better coaching job of the last two Summer Leagues.
Good for Isaac. I'm glad he got to do that. And he was fun to talk to, and he got drenched in water. It was all fun, and it was all exciting. Thank you, Alex, for the time. Where can people find you, the things you say, and, of course, again, to gas this up, interview with Pacers GM Chad Buchanan.
Yeah, I blab Monday through Friday mostly on Setting the Pace, and I blab a lot more on Twitter at AlexGoldenNBA. So if you want to read my thoughts and listen to the podcast, we'd love to have you guys join us. And, of course, Tony, we're supposed to be getting you on here next week, I think, as well on the podcast. So we'll do a little home and home split here, but really appreciate you having me on and always enjoy the conversation. And hopefully you get some rest, man. I text you, I said, man, you just are nonstop. Like, I can't do this. I'm traveling here. I'm going here. I'm going here. I'm like, Tony, relax, man. You need a break.
We'll get there. It's crazy today. Like, WNBA All-Star game was yesterday. 3 months ago was the first playoff game. I'm like, my God, like there's been a lot of basketball.
You've been doing a lot, bro. I traveled a lot. New York, Milwaukee.
I'm obviously sad all the fun stuff is over, but I'm also like, busy. I'm a little happy about the next 2 weeks of my life not being so crazy. But I will, of course, always make time for Setting the Pace. Everybody, thank you for listening. This week will be TBD, open to interpretation. I got to get an off-season schedule together, what I really want to dive into. They still have moves to make, so when that happens, we'll talk about that. And it's the off-season, man. It's time to get zany. I have a long list of things to talk about. Thank you all so much for listening today. You can find me the same places you find Alex, at Tony R. East. This podcast has a Twitter and Instagram account at Locked On Pacers. Thank you all for listening. See you very soon.